Good afternoon, everybody. It's November 1st, 2023. It's freezing outside. It's 3:51 p.m. here in eastern rural Kentucky. Welcome to all the newcomers. There are quite a few of you. I'm not receiving notifications anymore when a newcomer subscribes, so please introduce yourself in the comments section. That would be wonderful. I just want to give you some updates, and thank you all for watching the video this morning about the two perp dogs that were let loose again on my property. This has been actually going on systemically since August. What I've noticed is there appears to be two sets of dogs. So there's my perpetrator neighbor, you know, the one who's on Neighborhood Wars. They've got dogs that are barking all day, all night long. But they are a different color. They've got one dog that's white with spots. Then they've got a darker dog, unless they've got more than two dogs, which is quite a possibility. Many people around here have more than two dogs. So the two dogs that were on the property today were shepherds. One, of course, they were trying to be smart, be real cute. One dog had a blue tether, a collar, with a leash. I have never seen a dog around here with a leash, folks. This is rural Kentucky. So it was carefully set up by the handler, the criminal, the local criminals, to do that. Nevertheless, I did not see any tags on the dog, but of course everything happened very quickly. But it doesn't matter. The second dog did not have any identification. That dog was on top of the hill. The first dog that took a bite out of Henry's butt and ran off with a bunch of feathers in his mouth was a German Shepherd. He's the same shepherd that ate the Barred Rock mom of those two guineas that Henry was protecting today. Fortunately, Henry is alive. I apologize for people thinking that he did not make it. It appeared as if he didn't make it at first, and then he was hiding. He was hiding in one of the outbuildings there on the floor. He was traumatized and he was harmed. He's got a sore on his upper back, and his rear end is all red. All of his feathers were plucked out. It must have been horrifying for him. These German Shepherds are, if they were standing, would be taller than me. Yeah, that's right, folks. I'm 5'4", 5'4 and a half. These dogs standing would be taller than me. Somebody commented on one of the previous dog videos after viewing the photos of these shepherds that they look like government dogs, that they don't belong actually to a neighbor, that they were intentionally set out. I know that my neighbor directly next to me, she's got two different dogs. I think she might have three. She definitely has the white dog with the spots. Last year she had a gray dog that looked somewhat like a pit bull or something like that was on my property. But every year there are dogs here from local people. So I don't know if their dogs are dying, if they're getting new dogs, if they've got more than two dogs. I know that the dog catcher back in August or whatever caught two dogs. One of them actually looked like my neighbor's dog. Maybe he just gave it back. I don't know. I don't know. I have better things to do here than monitor other people's dogs, but I appreciate all of your comments, and Henry is alive. He's a huge rooster, but he's no match for a German Shepherd. So I wanted to give you that heads up. I also wanted to give you an update on smart dust. So after I posted that video, I got busy with my Clorox wipes, and I wiped everything down in bleach. I didn't attempt to look at it again under a spotlight. But this morning I took out some, or I should say last night I took out some winter clothing. No, it was going to be cold. So I took out two hats and some gloves, and I tossed them aside. I put the hat on this morning, and it had an unusual odor. I put back all of my winter clothing washed in a Rubbermaid tub. So they're washed and dried and clean. and it had a weird odor. So I said, you know what? Let me look at it under the black light. And lo and behold, it was covered in those blue speckles. So I stuck it in the laundry along with whatever else I took out. So I wanted to give you an update on that. I wanted to read a comment. Let's see if I can find it now. It was on my video. The bored, immature bully threw an IED explosive out the car window on property at 9:40 p.m. and the rat experiment. I just want to give you a heads up that I will be reporting this to higher up officials, not in so much in the state of Kentucky. Okay, this is a serious matter. It is a terrorist threat. It's beyond bullying. Okay, so I haven't done it yet. I'm in the process of formulating that. I'm very busy with a whole bunch of other things. And of course, this time of the year, like I just did a little while ago, I have to trim some shrubs that I haven't gotten to yet. And with all the leaves that have come down, I've got to get some of these leaves off the property. But I'm going to read one especially astute comment. I'm not going to tell you who the person is, but you can go to the video and you can scroll down. The person writes, "Bingo! I am so happy you covered this and thought in the comparison to the rat study. I live in a small, methed out area of Arkansas, just outside of Little Rock. Arkansas has very little to offer most people in this area, and many don't even have cars. Oh, well, we don't have that problem here. Everybody around here, they've got more than enough cars. The government is providing them with brand new cars every year, new license plates. It seems like many of them get involved in dealing drugs to get drugs. There is some quote-unquote upper management people involved who are smart, like they use retired Federal Express, Amazon, UPS, USPS, etc. vehicles, probably sold at an auction, to come and collect and distribute supplies, with most people never noticing the details. Don't know who they are, don't care. Wouldn't be exposing them even if I did, as long as they leave me alone, my family, my things. The F alone. Anyways, the boredom, lack of education, lack of resources, lack of ethics, lack of logic, lack of empathy, the insecurity, the jealousy, and the drug lifestyle, it is more than abuse at this level. With no real interaction with anyone apart from that existence is one of the biggest issues here. It is generational, and they almost never get out. I live here because it's affordable, but I guess I stick out like a sore thumb. I didn't come from this type of background. I was educated, graduated from surgical tech school in Little Rock, had a great family. It was spoiled, though I never knew anything different, so I just ignorantly thought everyone had similar home lives. This program made sure I was robbed of almost everything and everyone. They forced me back to Arkansas from Aurora, Colorado. I loved it there so much, to ensure that I would be navigated to a rural, poor, hateful, envious, uneducated place like this, so they could get every meth head and their entire family on board. These people are evil and have zero conscience. They are entitled because of jealousy and resentment, so they go all out with the petty stuff. People from areas like these holes, they are mostly all the same. I now see why. It's done intentionally by the government, so they can use these people for their dirty work. This is why there's no growth that's ever approved or funded. They don't even have public transportation out here, and it's literally right off the interstate. That is no accident. We even have Little Rock zip codes. That would also be why the drug busts only happen in certain areas, but they ignore these communities. The only way out, really, offered is military, which is why they push hard at the county school district I live in. The school seems to be trying to make changes now, but we will see if it's allowed or if the government rips their dreams in the bud. Sorry for the length and disorder. They have been going heavy on all dues for the past 2 weeks, and my brain feels almost scrambled. Good luck with the sales. I honestly think it may be better for me anyway to not own anything. If you own nothing and have nothing, nobody to lose. It is harder for them to own you, quote unquote. Then again, it can also easily go the other way, I guess. So, ready for some positive, unexpected changes. Thank you so much for that very important message. I appreciate it. I appreciate knowing your perspective on living in a small town and how it affected you and how you feel that it's generational and that it's intentional. I've never lived in a small town except this one. I grew up in New York, in the Bronx. I moved to New York City, where I was surrounded by people 24/7. There was no silence at any time. Whenever you went for a walk to get away from it all, you were always crossing paths with hundreds of other people. They say the city never sleeps, and it does not. You can go out for a cup of coffee or Chinese food or Indian food any time of the day or night in New York City. There's lots to do there. Overstimulation. I'll say just overstimulation. Too much noise. Too congested. Very expensive. But, you know, in small doses, I guess it's okay. You do learn a lot from living in a big city. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And now I'm going to move on to the next topic. Other people have commented on the detoxing, and if the detox methods that I have provided are good for Morgellons. I'll probably discuss that in greater detail another time, because I purchased a book, and I've been listening to a man's channel, and he actually authored this book. So I'm going to show you the book. I just got it. I haven't looked at it yet. And this is his name. Okay, it's a thin book. I think it costs like $12 or something like that. Haven't read it yet. But I did go to his channel, and I did purchase some of the items that he recommended. Some of them are difficult to find, so you really do have to look. We'll get into that another time, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that yes, Morgellons is a thing. They are fibers. They're fibers that come out of your skin. It's sort of like the nanotechnology. These fibers move. They move under a magnifying glass. And if you go to his channel, I don't have it with me. I didn't prepare to discuss this more in greater detail. He has evidence on his channel of these black fibers moving under a microscope. That's right, folks. They're everywhere, just like that blue nanotechnology that's inside a Rubbermaid box of cleaned clothing packed away from last summer to now. So, those fibers, I've actually seen them come out of my body. I've seen them underneath my fingernails. They have to grow out. After your nail grows out, you can get the fiber. I've seen them on my ankles a couple of years ago. It was horrible. What I did, I was very persistent with it. I would check my legs every day, pull all the fibers out. I would use alcohol. I actually took a bleach bath. That's no fun, folks. It totally dries out every part of your body, including your private parts. So then I would use almond oil or apricot kernel oil and castor oil and coat every part of my body. I'd use rosemary, essential oils. That really helped. Eucalyptus, tea tree oil. Those are essential oils that really work. But you have to get the good, pure oils, which are more costly. Eating pumpkin seeds, apricot kernel seeds are really good. They help detox the body, including those papaya seeds. Okay, so I'm going to get more into that at another time. But I wanted to give you the heads up that the realtor that I hired in July for 3 months, she actually originally sent me a 6-month contract. There's no way in hell I would ever sign a realtor contract for 6 months. If you can't sell my property in 2 or 3 months, you're certainly not going to sell it in 6. I would never do that. So I had to change to 3 months. And it was the best time of the year for her to sell it. There were other properties around here, just land, raw unrestricted land like mine. And those sold for more than what I'm offering for, more acreage. So she obviously didn't do her job. In fact, when I asked her last Tuesday, when does the listing end, she never got back to me. I asked her again yesterday, and she sends me a text message. Oh, it ended 2 days ago. Well, thanks for letting me know. I've been asking you for a week. Anyway, I'll be listing it on my own. If there's a realtor out there that wants to earn a commission, and I'm sure everybody does in this day and age, you can contact me with a bona fide buyer. So now, what I like to do, I just wanted to give you a heads up, folks. Please like this video. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading, exposing one criminal at a time. I live on a farm in rural Kentucky. I moved from Manalapan, New Jersey, in a home I lived in for 30 years as an original owner. And to answer your question also about the difference between the targeting in Manalapan versus here, of course, it has everything to do with the number, the population, how long you live somewhere, how long you know people, the education level. But I will attest to the fact that the Manalapan, I was going to use the F word, but I didn't. The Manalapan Police Department were on my ass all the time. And when they weren't stalking me, like when I went to the bagel store and the same cop just happened to show up even on his days off, even when he was not in his usual attire. They were on me 24/7. You think they'd have something better to do with their sorry lives, like fight some crime instead of tailgating teenagers and senior citizens. But they're all in it for the money. It's all their side hustle. Gang stalking is the cops' side hustle. Make no mistake. At least in Manalapan, New Jersey, it's their side hustle. And I would say that half of that police department is filled with narcissists. Big time. And some of them, actually, I have to say it, some of the guys, they're really good looking. They're very, handsome looking men. They don't belong in a police uniform. They don't look like they're ever going to put their hands on somebody. It's like they should be at a desk job or modeling somewhere. Yeah, that's what they look like there. I have another comment that I received today. Actually, a message from somebody I do not know on Quora. And probably is because I have a page on Quora that I just post information. It's called Research and Learning for Targeted Individuals. I received some responses there and stuff, but this person wrote to me privately, so I'm going to read what he wrote. I'm not going to mention his name. But this person contacted me several times. It's like he's trying to have a conversation with me. I really think he's one of these agents or whatever. I told him I really don't have time to talk, especially not on Quora. I just post information for people to learn, to educate people, and that's it. And then I'm gone. So now this is the second or third. Oh, here it is. Here he's baiting me. Let me go up here. Hi, Lorraine. I'm Robert. I've been a TI since 2014. It's disturbing that they come into your residence and poison and tamper with your food. Have you considered getting a few cameras? Sorry this is happening to you. Oh, yeah. When somebody is that ignorant to say get a few cameras, I've probably in New Jersey, I can't even muster up how much money I spent on security in Manalapan, New Jersey. I had a monitored system It was an alarm system at first, and then I added cameras front and back. I had baby monitors all over the place. I had trail cameras in my yard and in my bedroom. I kid you not. I had Arlo cameras everywhere. And then I installed a hardwire system. That was no small feat. They had to run wires through the attic, cameras everywhere. I was able to capture some good evidence there, and I actually, unfortunately, had to sell it with the house. It was too much to tear apart. But I spent thousands of dollars. In fact, I believe that the installation of the hardwire was about $3,000 without the cost of the cameras, which were sold separately. I'm going to say with everything, I probably spent about $10,000 on security in Manalapan, New Jersey, and the criminals hacked everything. Same thing here in rural Kentucky. They've broken 4 cameras so far. Not cameras. Security cameras. They've broken 4 so far. Wiped clean trail cameras. We're not talking about the everyday drug dealer. These are private security people. These are people with security clearances. They know how to hack a house. They know how to hack your phone and internet. These are InfraGard criminals. These are agents of the state. They're highly trained. It doesn't matter what you get. They will eventually figure out what you have and get into it. And that includes locks. Changed my locks 3 times in New Jersey. I'd actually deadbolted my slider door both vertically and horizontally in New Jersey. So yeah, that these are ridiculous things that people say. Oh, you should get security cameras. Yeah, okay, thank you. So then I told him that I had cameras. 4 were broken by the criminals, blah, 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 blah. Thank you for your concerns. What state do you live in? Then he says, Lorraine, I'm glad you responded. Sorry for that. I'm glad you responded. I'm sure you know we're isolated most of the time. Several things you said have gotten my attention. You mentioned food gets spoiled fast. And I'm thinking you're right. Frequency can surely be used to do that. I hope food is safe in the freezer. Lorraine, please understand, I've been approached by people who are not who they say they are. Perps, and just people taking advantage. I'm sure you understand. I need people to be legitimate. Please be my truth sayer. I'm a good friend with some stability in a very unstable environment. Now that I mention that, I'm sure they will attack me. You asked me where I am. I'm in Arizona. It all started in California. So, you start to believe that this person is legit. Okay? And then I mentioned that I really don't have a lot of time for this type of correspondence, but appreciate your message. I tell him a little bit about where I lived. And then I sold my camera system to a lawyer. And they worked fine in her office, but not mine. So this is what he says. He says, it sounds like you're a lawyer. I won't waste your time. So this is where the manipulation comes in. I say, I'm not a lawyer. He says, that's a relief. Because I haven't liked most lawyers. I've been forced to meet. And he goes on and on. But I want to say that was back in the middle of October. And I did not respond to this person anymore. So then today, out of nowhere, I receive another message. This is where they want to embroil you in conversation. This is very perp-like. Agenda 201, 2030 and 50, or the Green New Deal, if you prefer, is why organized stalking exists. Half fossil fuel usage in 6 years and 0 usage in 26 years. Where is this stuff coming from? Why am I being engaged in this kind of conversation? But I'm going to read it just for you to hear and get your feedback on what your thoughts are on why this person is attempting to engage me in this ridiculous conversation. And by the way, natural gas is fossil fuel, so think about that for a moment. People living in extreme cold, for example, will die. And electric heat is in no way an answer. 1500-watt electric heater is a 120 BTU, enough to heat 150 square feet. And in Southern California, it might heat a very small bathroom in Michigan. Think about this for a moment, and you will understand why organized stalking is here. It is control and death. And zero fossil fuel usage is only the beginning. It's all out in the open. One world government means open borders. Sounds familiar? One world government is absolutely part of Agenda 2050. Read it. It means America will no longer exist. Founding fathers will no longer be studied. Sound familiar? It's already happening. Read the agenda. It's all right there. One thing that isn't mentioned is the hammer that will be required. That's organized stalking. This is not spiritual. It's voice to skull. It didn't come from beyond. It's a punk being paid to help usher in this agenda. Surveillance role players is who they are. Your handler is a surveillance role player. Google that and see that both the private sector and the federal government are hiring more than 2 million of them. The job title says it all. Targeted individuals are being role-played and are under surveillance. Again, it's right in the open. He says, don't use this site to argue. Anyone arguing is probably a perp. Unite. Live together. Let another targeted person see another being stalked. Then it's not one crazy individual, it's verified. Going to the police is better, is a better one. Take photos, use a camera, not a phone. Phones are hacked. Cameras without Wi-Fi, or turn Wi-Fi the hell off. Don't process pictures on your computer. Computers are hacked. Go to a kiosk and develop pictures there. Perps will be at the kiosks. So bring support. Targeted individuals unite, hook up. That is why they want to isolate us. Don't waste time convincing family or friends. That won't work. Be with other targeted people is the only way. I've noticed it's hard to get other targeted people to speak to you. That's by design. Use the private messaging component and talk, and don't just answer. So I did respond. I said, thank you for the information. All of what you're saying is true. It is difficult to get targeted people to unite. There are perpetrators everywhere, and I have witnessed firsthand targeted people on YouTube speaking and being interrupted by their V2K and speaking out loud the instructions given to them at that moment, naming other targeted people as perps, which is false. They get away with doing this with targets who ingest alcohol and SSRIs. As for arguing, there are few I have seen do this. They are being assaulted, and the behavior modification used to work against us. So, I look forward to your questions and comments about that, folks. I will keep you updated on Henry's condition. I hope he's okay. He is very severely bruised, and a whole clump of his feathers are gone. I did call the sheriff's department because I didn't get hold of the dog catcher, and I said I want those dogs trapped. This is going on since August. This is the 6th time I'm calling. I want the dogs gone. Those dogs walked a minimum of 3 minutes onto my property, and now they were actually behind my house. They weren't just at the gate. They weren't just roaming around in the field. They were on top of the hill and behind my house, my residence. It's not acceptable. They gotta go. So, I hope that's all the information that you needed from me, guys. Thank you so much for participating in the comments section. When I have more information on this book, I will get back to you, but I do want to say that A lot of the treatments for Morgellons, if you have it, are exactly the same as you would use for Lyme's disease. Many of them, not all. Lyme is a spirochete. This Morgellons, this is technology. Okay, so it's a little bit different. So what happens with a spirochete is when you flood your body with all the antibiotics, this is for Lyme, flood your body with the antibiotics, black walnut hull extract, olive leaf extract, cat's claw, eucalyptus oil on your body, taking Epsom salt baths, etc. When you start doing that, what happens is it kills off a lot of the spirochetes. But the other little critters, they go into hiding. They say, okay, I'm going to go into hiding. And after your antibiotic wears off, if you stop taking your antiparasitic, which is the black walnut hull, cloves, garlic, etc., what is the other one? Oregano oil, castor oil. When you stop taking that, the little spirochetes that went into hiding are like, oh, wow, the coast is clear. We can come out and play again. And that's what they do. But there will be less of them. There'll be less of them. But so they'll wreak havoc in other ways, especially if your immune system is low. So all of the doxycycline, which it should be prescribed for a minimum of 6 weeks for Lyme disease. There are other antibiotics that are prescribed for Morgellons. I'm not prepared to discuss that. That will be a separate video. I want to go back to get that guy's YouTube channel so that you have it for reference and so that you can see what this looks like under a microscope. And I wanted to give you a heads up that he did the exact same thing. He took those masks during the, the arm candy 2-year thing. Just as I did after my mother passed away, I took her masks and I looked at them under a magnifying glass. And he did the same thing. And there were black fibers. And they move. They move when they come in contact with moisture. So think about this for a minute, friends. You put a mask on your face, right? You're inhaling and exhaling. What does that do? It creates moisture around the mouth area. And then it excites those little black thingies, the little fibers. They start moving. And imagine if they get up your nose. Imagine if you're breathing them in, you're inhaling them into your throat. That's probably why my mother developed a cough. She was inhaling the fibers from her masks. And also the masks in March, I think it was 2020, were no longer made of regular cotton. They were made of what is called B.T., an uppercase B and a lowercase t cotton. This is a genetically modified cotton, so it means it's fake. So you have the fake, I call them polyester, like a polyester fibers. That's what it looks like. Masks, cotton, fake cotton, combined with these black fibers. It's a recipe for ill health. So those little black fibers were very similar to what this YouTube channel creator's friend found under a microscope that moved when they came in contact with moisture. Isn't that exciting? Just so exciting. So this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Please please like this video. When I view any targeted person's video, it doesn't matter if I like the person, if I've even listened to the video. As soon as I get to a targeted person's video, I immediately hit the thumbs up. Because every targeted person out there that is going through this SHIT trauma needs to be recognized, needs to get the message out there. And I have looked at my stats, and even though some of my videos are doing very well with your comments and whatever, they're not getting enough thumbs up, but they're getting a lot of thumbs down. So that they're in the like 60% range, which means that even with with any kind of advertising, they're not getting noticed. They're not getting out there. So, and it also helps if you can listen to at least one advertisement. It helps. But anyway, I hope that answers some of your questions. I have some things to do here. It is cold. It's 4:30. And I'm going to sign off for now. I hope everybody's doing well. And I will talk to you soon.